welcome to a brand new episode of Farmer's Kitchen, presented by Spinneys with me, Helen Farmer. Whether you're watching or listening, this is the programme for all you foodies out there, so if you want ideas and inspiration, you're in the right place. In this series, we use some of Spinneys' finest ingredients from the organic, the free-from range and the free range too. Then they're transformed by some wonderful chefs in the kitchen at the Hyatt Regency, Dubai Creek. For those of you watching, you might have guessed we are talking about flour. Joined now, Tiffany Eslick is here. She's the editorial director of Spinneys Food Magazine, and it's all about baking. Now, not to age myself, but back in the day when I was baking with my grandma, it was very much plain flour, self-raising flour. Now, there's a whole range. We're going to be talking about some of the alternatives that are available in store. Wholemeal as well. Can you tell me a little bit about wholemeal? Because I don't understand. Is flour healthy? Is it not? There's a lot of myths around.
I think essentially what you need to look at is how conventional flour is made first. So let's take all-purpose flour and then wholemeal flour. So you're looking at the top part of the wheat plant, and white flour, all-purpose flour, is usually stripping that and only using one part of the plant, whereas wholemeal combines all three. So white flour, it gets a bad rap, but actually it is, like USDA data says, that it's got copper and zinc and iron and magnesium, and you're getting a good amount of protein as well. It's just what it gets mixed in with the flour, right?
Yes, which tends to be
sugar.
Lots of butter and sugar.
Yes. And then, for wholemeal, you're combining all three parts of the plant. So you've got the really oily, rich germ, you've got the bran, and that's essentially packed with more nutrients. And then something like the Spinneys food wholemeal is stone ground, so that's keeping the nutrients just the way it's made. Okay, so the process is slower, and again, it's giving a heartier, nuttier taste to your baked goods.
And is the texture different?
Totally. So it's much more different, and it is heavier, and a lot of people don't like it. It can be quite strong in the beginning, but if you learn how to work with it, then you can really make some really healthy, great things.
And obviously Spinneys has got a fantastic range of alternative flours as well in store. I've seen almond, I've seen coconut. What are some of the most popular? What's coming to the fore?
Well, because we've got so many different cultures here, and Spinneys brings in so many varieties of flour to suit those cuisines or those cultures. Chickpea flour is a big one. And especially the gluten-free flours. So chickpea flour is gluten-free. You can use it in all sorts of things, like for baking battered fish or omelets or pancakes or pakora. So that, and also in the Middle East it's used a lot. Buckwheat is another one, which is used all around the world. So in Japan you see it in buckwheat noodles, Russia in blinis, France in galettes. And that's gluten-free as well. It gives a really nice nutty taste. Obviously rye, and from Germany and northern Scandinavian countries. That's tangy. Amaranth, actually, it's not flour technically. Yeah, so amaranth comes from South America, or from Aztec cuisine, like ancient Aztec cuisine. So it's a bit like on the thing with quinoa, and it's gluten-free. It's not technically a grain, but it kind of falls into that category, and it's really versatile as well.
So lots to think about, lots to experiment with. Let's find out what our chef's going to be doing with flour on this episode of Farmer's Kitchen. Thanks, Tiffany. So now we've got all of our very tasty products and some pretty exciting ingredients too. Have you worked out what we're going to be creating in the kitchen? So packing them up, we're going to head off to Hyatt Regency, Dubai Creek, meet our chef and get cooking. Stay tuned to Dubai Eye 103.8 for more on Farmer's Kitchen. Bye. You too. Welcome to Farmer's Kitchen, your brand new show for all of your foodie favourites, presented by Spinneys and here on Dubai Eye 103.8. Now you can watch or listen, and if you want to watch, head over to our social media channels at Dubai Eye 103.8 FM, or head over to our website to find out how you can see what's happening in the kitchen right here. We've been to Spinneys, we've picked up our ingredients, and we found ourselves at Al Manzil, the Hyatt Regency Dubai Creek Heights. a fantastic venue. You can actually hire it, where it's got a live cooking station and event space too. And we're going to be using those kitchens to full effect today. We're looking at dairy-free as our specialist theme, and who better to guide us through this topic than celebrity chef Silvena Rowe. She's famed across the world, has a restaurant here in Dubai, Omnia, where she's the co-founder and the chef, and she's been a global MasterChef judge. So please be kind to me as I help you today,
I shall
Silvena.
give you lots of manual tasks.
Oh, please keep it menial. We haven't told you what our mystery dish is yet, but have you guessed? We've picked up some dairy-free ingredients, and we'll have a look at some of the other delicious pieces we've been putting together into our dish. So we're very lucky to have Chef Silvena to be able to pick her brains during this show. So let's have a look. We haven't revealed our mystery dish for this show, but what do we have in front of us? Let's have a quick look at some of the ingredients.
Yes, I mean, we have, for example, the first ingredient, it's actually chocolate, but it's a dairy-free chocolate.
What makes it dairy-free? And is it still...
You see, if you get a good, high-quality dark chocolate, the dairy residue would be very, very small amount, but this actually is salt and is a specific dairy-free chocolate. Now, I make a dairy-free Nutella in Omnia. And
That sounds
Nutella,
amazing.
I substitute the dairy with coconut. You know, now with coconut I'm careful because coconut, again, we mustn't overdo it. You know, we can't just say, oh, eat coconut, drink coconut milk and not the dairy milk. Everything is about balance. So this one is particularly interesting because it's also sugar free. Because see, I don't want to just give you dairy free. I want to give you gluten free as much as possible, but definitely sugar free.
Excellent dish, and it tastes delicious.
Yes, it's good. It's dark. It's
what kind of percent cocoa?
It's about, I'd say it's about 80% cocoa, this one, because
But not
any
too
more
bitter.
than that, any more than that would be very bitter, would be very starchy, and for this particular recipe, I want it to be slightly more voluptuous, slightly more velvety.
So we've got our chocolate, we've got what looks like a flour here, but there is some texture in it. What kind of flour
This
is
is wheat
chef?
flour. So it won't be completely gluten-free, this dish, but it is definitely sugar-free because I don't like using refined sugar. So this is wheat flour, which works very well with what we're going to prepare as a final dish.
Okay.
Very wholesome flour, very healthy. And this is oats. Like oats, they're crumbly oats. And oats, you know, they're always gluten-free, so whoever tells you they're not...
They don't know what they're talking about.
Absolutely, yes. We have here... Oh,
now, I'm
this is very
surprised to
special.
see this. This is black sesame seed.
This is actually a black seed. This is a favorite of our region here in the Emirates. You know, in the Hadith, Prophet Muhammad, peace may be with him, has said one very important thing. Black seed cures everything except death.
Wow, it's a way to start the day. So this is going into our dish.
Yes.
I think I can guess a bit of baking powder
Baking
and
powder
soda.
and baking soda, cinnamon, which is delicious, and I love cinnamon.
Not too overpowering. We've probably got a good heaped teaspoon here. Why are we going with the powder rather than the
I mean,
stick?
to be honest with you, the powder is very good quality. If I'm cooking a savory dish, I may go for a stick. Here, if I want it to be more potent, but I don't want this to be a cinnamon dish. I want it just to have a little twist of it.
So we've got our cinnamon and we've got some cashews here which have been chopped. So
They just like to add a little crunch to my whole situation.
the wet ingredients, what have we got to look forward to?
The main dish of the wet ingredients actually is the bananas, are the bananas.
We've got some lovely ripe bananas
you
here.
know, and then as you rightly pointed out, we have maple syrup because I love using maple syrup. So no sugar used here. I don't want to use refined sugar. Here we have some almond milk. We have some more chocolate here. This is just for the sprinkle on the top of our dish.
I like it already.
And and here we have some, not much. I am not a great lover of using coconut oil. A little bit of coconut oil, but if people have a problem with it, they should use maybe 2 tablespoons of olive oil, which also works.
Okay.
And here we have,
Let's have a smell.
I love the smell. I just love vinegar smell. It's just actually apple cider vinegar. I
Which
love it.
is incredibly good for gut health.
Yeah.
Now, our ripe bananas are the star ingredient on today's show, so I think it's time to reveal to everybody what is our mystery dish on Farmer's Kitchen.
I'm today making you one of the best banana bread recipes you will ever taste. Okay, so let's start peeling and mashing. I'll keep this one because one of the bananas I'll keep for decoration for the final result. So
they are very ripe, these bananas.
They need to be ripe, yeah. You need to be looking for ripe bananas. And you know, most of the time people throw them away. Yeah, they're very high in sugar, but this sugar is not bad for you unless you have some serious condition that does not allow you any fructose. But the strength of this particular dish is it is a vegan, and it's truly vegan, truly dairy-free. As you can see, also there's no eggs in here. You know,
no, that's right.
Thing, you know,
you can get vegan eggs, but what?
Yeah,
but that's what I was going to ask you. How do you feel?
I'm about 70–80% vegan, and the biggest problem is not the meat and the fish for me, is the eggs and the cheese. I just love those. You know, so okay. Ooh, you're a bit ambitious.
Oh, really?
Yes, she's starting with all of them at the same time.
Well, was this the key? Should I be mashing in
one by one?
One by one?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
So we're going to mash them with a fork up against the edge of this bowl.
See how easy it is? Once they're ripe, it's just so easy.
But you're right. As soon as they start ripening, people just chuck them out.
Yes.
We use ripe ones in smoothies quite a lot at home, or if we're not going to use them straight away, we freeze them.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. What I want to say is that one thing you can do with bananas, when they see them going and you actually don't want to use them, freeze them. Why? Because frozen are very good to be used in smoothies, you know?
Can I ask you about coming to Dubai? What were your first impressions, and when was it that when you came over?
I kind of did not ever want to come to Dubai. I mean, I lived in London, in Mayfair. I had a restaurant.
You had Quince in the hours.
Exactly, in the Mayfair Hotel. So it was not a question. I always used to think of Dubai as over the top and too flash and too shouty and too screaming and too kitsch. But when I came to Dubai, oh my God, I couldn't believe the energy, the progression, the happenings. I just love it.
And such a foodie city as well.
Yeah, I just love it, especially in the last 5 years. It's become very, very exciting. There are more than 3–4,000 eateries now, restaurants open everywhere.
So got my cardio for the day. Right, so it's going into our mixing bowl.
Yes.
And this is 4 bananas.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So 4 bananas are going in there. So what we'll do now, we're going to mix all of our wet ingredients together. We're adding the maple syrup. Okay. I
will mix.
Yeah.
There we go. This is
almond milk.
Almond milk going in. So it's getting very sloppy.
Yep.
Very nice.
Now, this is going to be a bit more difficult, but I will add it as well.
So coconut oil really should be liquid if you
yeah, but it's fine.
At home, but it's okay if it's slightly solidified.
It's okay, because you know what? In the oven, with the temperature, it will be fine. Even if it stays together, it spreads itself around.
So as you said, it could be olive oil if people prefer not to use coconut oil.
Yes.
So
So this is it.
What ingredients
it's kind of nice and chunky. You don't want it to be too smooth and too uniform. So this is gorgeous. So now we're going to add our dry ingredients. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So well, I'm going to put first of all the flour.
So this is the buckwheat flour, and you can
see wheat flour. Yeah.
You can see some texture in it there.
Yes, it's just because it's very good quality, and I mean really this is one thing Spinneys does very well is the selection of flours. I have to say it is nothing else. You can get variety of flours, whether they're gluten-free, whether they're buckwheat-based, whether they're wheat-based, rye flours, etc. Really, it is great.
So if someone was gluten-free, could they adapt this recipe with a gluten-free
flour?
Yes,
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, or they can replace this with oat flour as well, because I love oats. So the oats are going for texture.
And these look like, they are straight from Spinneys, but they are slightly chopped or slightly milled. They're not the huge jumbo oats.
The baking powder and baking soda went in. Here now I'm going to add the cinnamon.
For that bit of warmth going through our banana bread. You said banana bread, but I think it feels quite cakey.
It is cakey, but I think the reason I call it banana bread is because it's just so homely. And the banana bread that we're making, remember, it's completely vegan, completely dairy-free, no even eggs. So it's for people who have egg allergy. It's for people who don't want to use sugar. If they really have a diabetes problem, I would suggest they will use a certain amount of stevia instead of maple syrup, you know, and then still will have an amazing result. Chocolate chips.
Dairy-free chocolate's going in. So this is going to be distributed all the way through the banana bread and melting inside
and it's getting harder for you now.
I know, the right biceps having a bit of a tough time.
The nuts.
So some chopped cashews that are going
you know,
in.
The interesting thing is that I do lots of gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, paleo, vegan. But when people come and tell me, oh, I have a nut allergy, then I'm a little bit like, oh my God, my hands are tied now. Because we have alternatives, especially for the dairy-free, but we rely very heavily on nuts to give us the protein, to give us the texture, to give us the crunch, to give us the excitement in the dish. And of course, my favorite ingredient, the black seed. This is a special flour. It's called Nigella stevia flour. And the flour itself, the seed of the flour are those seeds. Now, they're very, very special and, like I said, very potent. So I'm using a lot because I like the crunch, I like the way it goes through, and it makes
The whole
a beautiful
thing's gone
cake.
in. I was
Yes.
expecting a pinch, so we've got a small
No,
bowl
no, no,
there of the
everything
black
is measured
seed.
here. Everything is measured, about 4
Wow.
tablespoons. And it really works very well. Now, this recipe did not exist in its form and shape. I changed it, I adapted things. I want to make it how the locals love it here, how our environment loves it. And it makes it super healthy because it's now full of superfood.
Can I ask you about the black seeds then? Does baking kind of alter the nutrition in them, or does it not make any difference?
Not at all.
Oh,
It
that's
doesn't.
good.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So here it is.
Having a good mix here. All of those ingredients are in the
Yeah.
bowl. Does this look suitably mixed to you, Chef?
Yes, it's perfect. So now this is our
Got a loaf tin.
loaf tin. Let's
And
just
how have you
put this.
prepared it, Chef?
Well, it's just basically we used a little bit of vegan butter, or if you don't have a vegan butter, you can use a bit of coconut oil, which we used in the dish.
So just brush it around
and
the
I
edge.
usually put like a little line of baking
This is
pepper
clever.
in the
So we've
middle.
got a strip of baking paper
Yeah.
that's gone down the middle. This
And
will
I
help
just
us
pull
lift it
up.
out.
Yes, that's right.
This is years of experience speaking here.
Oh, please, don't remind people of my age.
I'm going to let you do this, Chef. You can
Okay,
put it in
very
because
good.
I'm not known for my coordination at the best of times, but I will hold this
Fine.
loaf tin for you. So
It's okay.
putting in the mixture into this greased loaf tin. So vegan butter, is that something you would use in baking, or is it just better for a bit of
I
preparation?
love vegan butter. You know, even when you make garlic bread, you use vegan butter. But again, I make my own at my restaurants because I like to load it. You know how vegan butter is slightly yellowy? I like to load it with turmeric for the color, for example. You
Turmeric has been hailed so much recently. We've got, turmeric lattes, turmeric supplements. My dad's taking a lot of turmeric supplements. There's always comparing the costs around the world.
Have the real thing. You know?
What is it about turmeric that you think is so powerful?
It's just a superlative antioxidant. It's just a superfood. It's a great antioxidant, and as vegan as I am, one thing I cannot give up is actually if I get hold of very good high quality veal bones with the marrow, I actually cook them for 18 to 24 hours with lots of organic vegetables.
Up next, we're going to be decorating our cake, popping it into the oven. We're doing the famous omelette banana bread on this episode. Stay with us, it's going into the oven. I can't wait to have a taste. Been in the oven. Chef, I think it's time to get that banana bread out.
Go and see.
Go grab it.
We are hungry.
Can't wait to have a taste of this. It's been in the oven for about 40 minutes, but as Chef said earlier, do make sure you do it on your own oven's timings. They can be so different. So just make sure. That looks amazing. We've got our 2 banana slices on there, covered it in the chocolate, and has it been glazed? It looks like it's been glazed already.
Well, it's just from the oven. No, this is because the chocolate is slightly melted. So like I said, it's great for them. As a tip, what I suggest is great to cover it with foil and give it 20 minutes in an oven with the foil. Then they take the foil off and another 20 minutes, perhaps reduce the temperature slightly because you don't want to burn the
You
chocolate.
don't want that to catch. Okay.
Exactly. And then to check if it's ready, the very old-fashioned way of using a cocktail stick in and out, and basically it should come out rather clean. If it's not clean, it needs a little bit more time, but also you begin to learn by touching it, And remember, this is not a conventional baking. This is not, there's no regular plain flour.
There's no
There's
eggs.
no egg in there, so the whole situation is very different. So it's going to be a new experience. So trial and error perhaps, but this recipe is fairly foolproof. I would not give it otherwise.
Now, this looks sensational as it is, and I would very proudly serve this at any afternoon tea, but we've got some finishing touches. What have we got left to do?
I mean, this is just a little bit of maple syrup here, but you can actually use like, glaze, basically. But you can actually use your favorite glaze. I mean,
So
in
you
my
could do
case, it's
like-
apricot. I
Me
love
too.
apricot, apricot glaze. But then again, it will give a different flavor. So I just thought I'll stick with the maple because it's
it's already
it's
in there.
maple in there, you know.
So our maple glaze is on our banana bread, and we've got some lovely fresh red currants there, some blueberries.
Yeah.
So if people, not saying this is certainly not a guilty dessert, but to have a bit of freshness to the plate, this looks sensational.
Berries are always good. Remember, this is a perfect afternoon tea cake, like with afternoon tea or coffee, but also perfect for breakfast as well.
I think my kids would absolutely love this. So our fresh berries are on the board. The only thing left to do is give it a taste.
As you also notice, I don't like the sprinkling with sugar because there's no sugar. We don't want to put icing sugar on the top. So I'm not going to mask it with anything. You know how many desserts they mask with sugar, with everything on the top because you can't see what's in there. This is rustic, real, amazing,
honest deliciousness. Here we go. The cake, the banana bread is ready for tasting. I'm so excited. It's been glazed, it's got that beautiful fresh fruit. Chef, I'm going to let you do the honours of cutting it open. I know you said for breakfast, this would be the best breakfast ever. Look, so once you open up that cake...
Look how moist it is, look how moist
it looks
and
really...
Moorish, and it's just begging you to... It's begging me to get into my belly, basically. You know?
The chocolate, that beautiful dairy-free,
And
has melted all the way through. You can still see the seeds. I'd like a slice, please.
Oh, yeah.
So, thank you so much. We can have a little
There
share
it
of
is.
that. Thank you. And super moist, as you said. It's a different kind of baking. We haven't got that the flour that you'd expect. It's quite dense. It's fudgy. What tastes come through for you straight away?
It's really beyond description. It's so moist. It's so Moorish. It's so full of goodness and gooiness.
Loads coming up, of course, on future episodes of Farmer's Kitchen. But do let us know if there's any chefs, any restaurants that you would love to hear more from, to see, talking you through your favourite recipes. We'd love to hear from you. It's as much about you as it is about us. Chef Silvena, thank you so much for joining us. An absolute pleasure to have you in the kitchen here at Al Manzil at the Hyatt Regency, Dubai Creek Heights. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, whether you're watching or listening. Stay hungry, stay cooking, and we'll see you on a future episode of Farmer's Kitchen presented by Spinneys.